Most guys who are chasing a top 1% physique believe that 100% of the results are through the outcome and the end result, okay? And I want to tell you that the second you start developing your physique and you go all in on your fitness and you get that to a certain point, you are just going to consistently raise the bar. You're going to keep pushing the bar. There's going to be a new standard you set, a new goal that you're so desperate to hit. And in reality, not a whole lot about you is going to change if building your physique is the only thing you are focusing on or actually care about. Because a few years ago, I was so obsessed with gaining muscle, gaining size, because I didn't want to be the scrawny, small, insecure kid who was smaller than everyone and just felt like I was a pushover, right? I didn't want to be that guy anymore, right? So I thought that my life was going to be fixed. I'm going to have all this confidence and everything's going to improve drastically once I have the muscle mass, once I look like a Greek god and I have an aesthetic physique, right? And, you know, it's completely normal and understandable to think that when you don't like the way you look and you don't like the way you see yourself, right? Of course, that's normal. But as someone who has been in self-improvement and developed myself in every other aspect of life as well, with fitness being the base and the foundation of everything, I can tell you, you are only going to improve and feel your confidence improving and feel like your life is truly moving in the right direction if you are holding yourself to the same standard outside of the gym as well as inside of the gym. Right now, what do I mean by that? I'm talking about the promises that you make for yourself, the things you tell yourself you're going to do, right? The small wins in the morning when no one's watching, right? Dropping the bad habits that you know right now are chaining you down to the ground, right? Because you can't fraud your way into confidence. You truly have to become someone new who has proof that he is the version of him who he says he is, right? Because that's truly what confidence is, and developing yourself as a man is. It is building a stack of undeniable proof that you are who you say you are, right? So if you're in great shape, but you still wake up late, you're still unproductive, you still fall into lust, you still doom scroll, you're addicted to all these different vices, you're going to feel terrible, right? And that's exactly how I was for a very long time. You know, the first 2 years when I actually, of me lifting properly and I'm developing my physique and I'm trying to get stronger, I'm so focused on the physique, but I hadn't really tapped into that level of self-improvement yet, right? And I felt like a fraud because on paper, right, and the physique I had and the way that the way that some other people saw me, they would have told you I had confidence. But I was just chasing validation and trying to make other people laugh and entertain other people to make it seem like I had confidence when I really had nothing. I had absolutely nothing because I knew that in the times where no one was watching, I was breaking all these promises. I was still wasting time. I was still falling into lust. I'm still, beating my meat a ton. And it's like, what's the point? Right? You can have the physique, but it's really going to do nothing if you aren't trying to improve aggressively in every other aspect of your life as well. And I literally felt like a bum, for a very, like a good 2 years, right? After I started lifting, because I knew that I had elevated my physique and my physical from here to here, and everything else just hadn't moved. I just felt like an absolute fraud. And for a very long time, I was the guy who just pretended like those things didn't matter, right? I didn't want to face reality. I didn't want to face where I was because in my eyes, I had progressed so much in one thing, but I was still so unconfident and lacking in confidence to the point where I didn't even want to face the fact that I had to start building the good habits from the ground up, right? Because I've trying to, work on other things, side projects, businesses, whatever it is, whilst having these bad habits, and it doesn't work, right? And the second I really took my self-improvement seriously and I started fitness coaching and I really made an effort to obviously be the best coach I can for myself, because if I can't lead myself, I can't lead other people and I can't guide other people. So I knew that that was going to be something massive that I had to work on, right? And I'm still not perfect now, but even then, I know when I make mistakes and I know how to get back on track. But those bad habits, like the lust and all that kind of stuff, I've stopped entirely. You want to completely cut those things off because you cannot get away with it, right? There was a very long time where I was still doing these things, and I just thought, as long as I work hard, as long as I do the right things and I'm a good person, right, accept all of those things, that I was still going to make progress and, move in the right direction. And the truth is, maybe you can, right? But I'm not prepared to wait 5, 10, 20, 50 times the amount of time it's going to take just because I'm self-sabotaging at the same time. Like, I'm trying to stack all the odds in my favor. I'm trying to be the best version of me. And at the back of your mind when you're watching this video, those bad habits that I'm talking about, it should pop up in your mind exactly. You're already going to be thinking about it, right? That thing that is bad and holding you back to some extent, just drop it, right? Work and commit to dropping it, right? It's easier said than done, but you can commit and just forget that version of you and push that identity into the past and fully commit to making a change, because you will progress 100 times faster if you do that. Because I've tried keeping up these habits, I've tried doing these things and still trying to make the same progress, and you just don't. You feel so unsatisfied, feels so unfulfilling, even though you might be doing something that is supposed to be fulfilling. And it's just, it's just something you're not supposed to be doing, right? So my advice to you is, if you want to progress and you're serious about bettering yourself, drop the bad habits, right? Because that is what it took for me to realize that I'm not unconfident. I just have no proof to be confident, right? You have to build it up. It's a skill, right? And it takes building and requires you to make necessary sacrifices in order to build. So look within yourself, make that change, and I guarantee that you're going to progress so much faster in your own life. So that's exactly why and how I still felt like a loser for 2 years, even though I had a very, very solid physique. Don't let that be you. Make the change, because at the end of the day, fitness and what building a great physique teaches you is the foundation, right? But if you aren't applying that and the skills and the traits that you learn from building a great physique, if you aren't applying that into other areas of life and bettering yourself in other areas, of course you're going to feel like a fraud, and of course you're going to feel like you're wasting your potential, because you are. That's just a fact. That being said, I hope you guys took a lot away from this video. DM me on Instagram if you have any questions. The link will be in the description below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.